Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our very first virtual Career and Professional Schools Expo. My name is Kelly Zatorsky. I'm the Manager of Careers and Experiential Learning with Careerspace at Trent University. So for anyone that doesn't know, Careerspace is sort of a hub of services and options that we provide to students to give them a different outlook on the career landscape. And we just, make sure that every student and alum, both undergrad and grad students as well, have meaningful experiences. They get different perspectives, and they have access to all of the resources that will help them with their next step. So we offer virtual appointments, usually in person, but of course during COVID it's virtual, workshops, online resources, opportunities like this one to connect with employers and recruiters, and all of these services are free. We often get that question, which is really interesting. And I will post a link to our services in the chat, but it's trentu.ca/careerspace. You can book an appointment or access any of the things that we have online. I'm super thrilled to have Susan White here from Lakehead. I'm from Lakefield, so as soon as I saw Lakehead, oh my gosh, University. It's great that we have you here today. And before we go ahead, just a few little housekeeping items. We're going to do, 15, 20 minutes of presentation, and then we'll do some Q&A. So for the folks in attendance, the Q&A field is on the bottom. If you just hover over the bottom part of the screen, you'll see a Q&A button. You can pop your question in there, or feel free to use the chat as well, whatever you're most comfortable with. Susan, if you don't mind, you can plug your contact information into the chat as well. I'm sure you will probably include it in your presentation, but just so it's right there. And today's presentation is going to be posted to our YouTube channel, and it will be on our website, and we'll share it with Susan as well. So without further ado, I will hand over to Susan. The floor is yours.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming today. I am just going to turn off my camera and share my screen and focus on the presentation. So just bear with me for a quick moment here. Okay, so we are Lakehead University, and our claim to fame is exceptional and unconventional. My name is Susan White, and I am the Graduate Studies Recruitment and Admissions Officer for the Faculty of Graduate Studies at Lakehead University. My email address is in the chat, as well as right there at the bottom of the screen. And graduatestudies.lakeheadu.ca is the best way to find us. So thank you for your interest in graduate studies at Lakehead University. I know right now is a very busy time for everyone, and I do appreciate you taking the time to come and visit us today and to get some information about our university. Just quickly, though, the top left-hand side is Lake Tamblin at our Thunder Bay campus. The bottom left-hand side is the Simcoe Hall at our Aurelia campus. And then the right-hand side at the bottom there is our new CASIS building, the Center for Advanced Studies in Engineering and Sciences. It's the newest building on campus, and that sunset, believe it or not photoshopped, completely legit. Actually, it's a sunrise, not a sunset, sorry. So where are we? So as I briefly mentioned, we are in Aurelia and Thunder Bay. So you may be more familiar with Aurelia, as much closer to Peterborough than Thunder Bay, but there's a little map there to give you an idea of where things are. Thunder Bay, people think it's really far away. I don't really think it is. My family actually lives just south of London, and we get down to see them quite often, as there's 3 airlines that service Thunder Bay: Air Canada, WestJet, and Porter. Hopefully Porter will be back in the air soon. They are not right now due to COVID. So at this time, the Graduate Studies only offers the following programs at Aurelia. So we only offer social work, biology, and education. Those are approved programs, approved graduate programs at our Aurelia campus. All other programs are housed at our Thunder Bay campus. If you have a serious interest in a program, no, you cannot possibly make it to Thunder Bay, I recommend reaching out to us, reaching out to me, reaching out to us to see if we can make an exception. Some programs can make exceptions and offer students at Aurelia, even though the program is housed in Thunder Bay. So our available programs, a very comprehensive list here. I won't read them all off, but if you just take a quick peek, maybe there's something there that piques your interest. The one thing that I will say about this slide is if you are interested in a thesis-based or doctoral program, we do recommend that you secure a supervisor before you make your application. So there's a link right there that could help you get started with some supervisors. The graduate coordinators of the programs are listed here. Oops, sorry. Are listed right there at the bottom. So lakeheadu.ca/program/graduate/academic. And I won't go through it because obviously this is going to be recorded, so you can go back and check it out. We do have some specializations. So gerontology, women's studies, indigenous and northern health, nursing, epidemiology, artificial intelligence, social justice, and social ecological systems, sustainability, and health. So you do need to take those programs in conjunction with a home program. And I will give you a really great resource at the end of this presentation as to how to find where you can do those specializations within which programs. So PhD programs, I'm not sure if any of you are interested in PhD or if we're just talking maybe the master's level, graduate diploma level. There's a few here. Our newest one is our PhD in health sciences. It's listed at the bottom of the page. This intake will be only our second year for that program, which we're very, very excited about. One of the biggest questions I receive are the program length. So all of our master's programs are 2 years or 6 terms. And when I say that, it's different than undergraduate, so you don't break for the summer. So your 6 terms includes a fall term, winter term, spring, summer term, that's 3, and then fall, winter, spring, summer again. And then so the exceptions are here. So our Master of Science in Forestry has a course-based program that's only 1 year or 3 terms. The Master of Business Administration, so the MBA program is 1 year, 3 terms. There's also a 16-month option available with Advanced Studies in Management. Our Master of Science in Management is also 1 year, 3 terms. We have a Graduate Diploma in Professional Kinesiology, which is 1 year or 3 terms. Graduate Diploma in Accounting, which is only 3 months actually, so 1 term. And all of our PhD programs are 4 years or 12 terms in duration. So when I say that, there are options as well if you need to take a leave of absence. So say you have a super fantastic job in the summer that you don't want to give up, you will be able to take a leave of absence with the approval of the faculty and your supervisor or your graduate coordinator. So admissions requirements is probably the next question. So for domestic students, Canadian citizens, permanent residents of Canada, we're looking at the minimum of 70% on your last 20 half credits. So generally it's the last 2 years of your 4-year degree. So we don't include the first year courses and we prefer to see 3rd and 4th year courses. So your applications are going to be more competitive if you have more of those higher level courses. However, we will use the 2nd year courses if necessary to make up the 20 half credits. And when we're picking and choosing those 2nd year courses, it would be something more geared towards what the program is. So if you were taking an engineering program and you had some English courses, say, we're probably not going to look at those. We'll take the engineering courses over the English courses at the 2nd year level. So for international students, it's a little bit more competitive field. So we're looking more like a 75% on a Canadian scale, and that's a cumulative grade point average, not just the last 2 years. We recommend the deadline for February 1st. Many programs do remain open after this date, but for funding, if you are eligible for funding, I do recommend applying by February 1st. This is when all the applications kind of start to be filtered through and funding starts to be allocated, and if your application's not in, then you wouldn't be considered for that funding. And there's some exceptions there of earlier dates for deadlines. Health science and public health, very, very important. February 1st is a firm deadline. Sometimes they extend it for the MHSC program, but the MPH program is generally always a firm cutoff of February 1st. So don't dally on that one. Funding opportunities. So another great website there, lakeheadu.ca/graduate-student-funding. We have a variety of links there. So again, recommended February 1st deadline to ensure you're considered for any funding packages. Important point is that many of our domestic students receive a graduate assistantship. So right now it's valued at approximately $10,200 in exchange for 270 hours of work, which averages to about 10 hours of work per week in the fall and winter terms. This is a job. You are hired on the university as an employee. Therefore, you also receive some benefits. And that $10,200 is obviously quoted before taxes and government deductions. I also strongly recommend you check out the external awards programs by the federal and provincial governments. So there's some information there. The applications are due coming up soon. If you want to start your studies in the fall of 2021, your application for these federal and provincial programs are generally due at the beginning of December. So there is a link. So there's federal. So NSERC, SHIRK, and then provincial Ontario graduate scholarships, OGS. So if you do go to that link at the top under funding opportunities, there is a link to the federal and provincial websites where you can get more information. And often too, your faculty, your current faculty can give you more information about those options, and they are worth it. If you have an exceptional average, they are worth it to apply to, because you could be getting up to $15,000 or more, and it's worth the application process. Student fees, I'm not going to get into that too much right now. There's a link here too for fee information. They vary by each program, so I don't want to we're kind of short on time here, so I don't want to get into that too much. But if you have any questions about that, you can definitely email me. If you check out this link and it doesn't work for you, or you can't figure out what you're looking at, then please email me and I'll try to make it a little more clear if you need. How to apply. So getting near the nitty gritty here. Once you figure out your program and you're really excited about it, we want you to, explore our graduate programs, figure out what we have there, and then you need to review admission requirements. So any additional things that you might need, like you might need a CV or a statement of interest, sometimes a GRE, although if you are interested in psychology, the GRE has been waived for fall 2021 due to the issues surrounding COVID. Prepare your application. So what you need is 3 academic references are preferred, and that I mean current professors, people that can speak to your academic skills. You need their first name, last name, and their email address. We prefer a professional email address, so not like a Yahoo or a Gmail. It goes a little bit farther if it's from like at trentu.ca, at lakeheadu.ca, etc. And you also need to do, to have all of your past post-secondary education ready. So if you attended college before you went to university, then we need that information. It's kind of a sit down, go to graduatestudies.lakeheadu.ca, you click on click to apply here, and then it's basically a one shot. So you have to have those reference information, and you have to have those post-secondary years that you attended different post-secondary institutions ready to go, and then you will pay your $100 application fee, and then click submit about 3 or 4 times, and then you'll be sent an email to the email that you provided with further instructions on how to upload the next documents. So once you do that, you submit the application, you can go back in at a later date and upload. We prefer unofficial transcripts. So if you have an unofficial transcript that you can get through your student portal, then that's perfect. Then that's perfect. Yeah, student portal transcripts, that's great. And then you can just take your time and kind of upload things as you see fit, and then we'll send you notices, and you'll then have generated a Lakehead University email address that we will communicate with. I'm at my last slide now. I probably did that a lot faster than usual, so I hope it wasn't too quick. Great resource right here is our view book. If I was there to see you in person, I would definitely be handing one of these to you, but obviously due to COVID, we only chose to do an electronic version right now. So this will take you to our view book, which is right here, and hopefully loads. And I'm not going to flip through the whole thing. Obviously 28 pages, that's kind of a lot to check out, but I'm going to direct you to the very last page, which is, so this is the last page of the view book, and it tells you all the programs. It tells you if there's thesis or course base, what the start terms are, September, January, May, all the specializations, all pretty color coded. So it's a big kind of puzzle, but if you look really closely, it's actually pretty straightforward. So this is back to where I said the specializations that we have, you can match them up to which programs are with, and then also some of them have co-op, some of them have online options, some of them have flex time options, and I will leave it at that. So graduatestudies.lakeheadu.ca is where you can find this electronic book, and I will actually just put that in the chat, and then we can take some questions.
Awesome. Well, we've got a few lined up already, actually. So we've got 4 questions here in our Q&A. And so this one is probably one that might be tough to answer because you're representing all of graduate studies, but the question is, what does an ideal candidate look like?
Okay, so that's a great question. An ideal candidate would probably be someone who has their application all ironed out. I mean, we are very, very busy. We see thousands of applications every year. So if you make sure that you have everything online so that we don't have to track you down for things, make sure you have your unofficial transcript. I mean, this is a tricky question because an ideal candidate for maybe like a psychology program versus an ideal candidate for an engineering program would be different things. Because say for our engineering, they're looking solely marks based, so high academic average, versus psychology where they have different aspects and they're looking at kind of the whole portfolio. So if you do want to email me, susan.white@lakeheadu.ca, and specify maybe what program you're looking at, I can try to give you some tips and tricks.
Question is, how competitive is this program?
That depends again on the program. So I'm speaking of all programs. If they want to clarify, and sorry, I don't see the question, but whoever is asking this. So, oh, Anonymous. Okay, so if Anonymous wants to clarify what program they're looking for, then I would definitely let you know. But generally, our psychology programs, our health sciences programs are the most competitive programs because they have a very small cohort. So people who are admitted is small. I don't want that to discourage anybody. Again, you can email me if you want to. We don't pre-assess applications. Unfortunately, we just don't have the time to do that, but I can give you a general idea if you want to email me again directly.
Great. Another question from Anonymous is, what type of housing options are there?
So on campus, I generally don't go over this for graduate students because often grad students find different ways, or they know people in Thunder Bay and that's what's bringing them to Thunder Bay. But we do have residents. So there's a first year dormitory that you probably wouldn't want to be interested in. That's just for students coming straight out of high school essentially. And then we have townhouses and apartments and the Thunder Bay campus, there's townhouses and apartments. So you would be sharing the unit with 3 other students. And if you are a graduate student, they do try to hook graduate students in with either like law students, med students, or other grad students, so that you're not with lower year students, so that you all probably have a strong focus on study and not so much the party aspect of maybe being a new university student. And then at our Aurelia campus, there is also dormitory-style residences that are single units, and they're shared. If you wanted to know more about this, and you go to our main Lakehead University, so lakeheadu.ca, there is information there about kind of under the undergraduate umbrella about our residences. Yeah, no problem.
So Mike's asking, saying, sorry if you've already covered it, but what are the major dates for admission? I'm not sure if that is also varies by program or if it's
so the major dates for admission, we really would like, so almost all of our applications right now are open except for public health and Master of Health Sciences. I do anticipate them being open before the end of the month. February 1st. So keep February 1st in mind. I would like to see your application. I would like to see everything you can do to complete that application in by February 1st. It helps you with the funding. It helps us with processing. And you have the best chance of being admitted. If something say happened and you're like, oh no, I'm not gonna apply to that program this year, I kind of have other irons in the fire, and then something happens and after February 1st, you're like, oh, you know, too bad I didn't apply to that program at Lakehead, email me or check out online to see if the application is still open. That means we're obviously accepting more people. And again, it depends on the program. So some of them are closed February 2nd, they're closed and we're taking no more applicants. They stay open. Sometimes some of them stay open right until the fall term. So it depends on the cohort. It depends on how many applicants we have each year.
great.
I'm just going to share that the residents for whoever asked it in the chat there. I'm just going to share the link for that.
Perfect. You did touch a bit on finances, but we do have a question here about the types of financial aid that are available.
Sure. So for financial aid, I did mention the graduate assistantship, and that is for domestic students only. I'm not sure if this person who's asking the question is domestic or international, but for international students, there is very limited funding, unfortunately. For domestic students, you also, if you're doing a thesis program, there would be an opportunity to perhaps get a faculty research award. So if the supervisor that you have chosen and that has chosen you has funding, they like to share that with their students because they want to make sure their students are well taken care of. So that's something that wouldn't be available until you made the application. And essentially you go through the competition, and then the faculty member picks you out of the bunch, and then you may get that award. And there's also some entrance scholarships, so you don't have to apply for the entrance scholarships, you don't have to apply for the graduate assistantship, you're automatically considered for those things. The things that you would need to apply for are the federal and provincial funding that I mentioned and outlined, and again, those due dates are coming up in December. So if you are looking for fall 2021, I do recommend you checking those out. And then there's also bursaries that come up in the fall, winter, and spring term. That would be after you are enrolled or registered for the course. And we have a great platform called My Awards. And if you go to My Awards after you're registered again, and you could basically do a custom search as to what awards apply to you and which ones you can apply for.
Great. One other question from Alexis. Do you know what the first term of a thesis project course might look like?
Oh, these are really good questions. First term of a thesis project. Again, it would depend on the program. If you want to, Alexis, if you want to send me an email, a private email, let me know what program you're looking at. I can dig into that a bit more. But I think a lot of consultation with your supervisor would be in line, and I think it would just vary. So I don't really feel comfortable answering that question, as it would vary from program to program. And if you give me an idea of what program you're looking at, we can maybe get in touch with someone from the department and get that question answered for you.
Great. So Alexis, I encourage you to just, Susan's contact info is up there, and you can make a connection that way. This actually brings us to our time. So
we did it.
We did.
We did it.
Good.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Susan, for being here today and for joining us on our first ever experience of virtual fair. I hope it went well. I feel great about it. I think that we got a lot of information covered. Hopefully the students felt the same way. And thanks to the students for attending. I know everybody is experiencing quite a bit of Zoom fatigue these days.
Yes,
so,
thank you, everyone.
Carving the time out of your day to attend is really important. So thank you again. As I said, this link will be shared on our website, and I'll be sharing it with Susan as well.
Just one last thing, if I may. I want to thank everybody again for coming. And the biggest thing that I miss about my job is being able to come to your school and meet you in person and to see what's going on in your life and what your goals and aspirations are. So please send me an email, even if you're not really sure what program you're looking at, just like what are your goals, what are your passions, and I will do my best to try and connect you with the program, connect you with the prof, or do what I can to help you out. I miss seeing you face to face, and I really hope that if there's any third-year students here, that I can see you next year on campus. And again, thank you for taking the time to come and see me today.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, guys. Great weekends.